Recently, I've been seeing a lot of discussion about who can actually defeat one of, if not the strongest Shikigami in Jujutsu Kaisen, the Divine General himself, Mahoraga. He's one of the 10 Shadows, but he's never been defeated by any 10 Shadows users in the past. With his extremely unique skill set, I thought it would be interesting to put him up against one of JJK's strongest sorcerers, Yuta Akotsu. For the sake of the video, we'll say that Megami summons Mahoraga the same way he did in Shibuya, but instead of Sukuna running to save Megami, Yuta, who was already on his way after hearing Gojo was sealed, begins to save the unconscious Megami by defeating Mahoraga. If you enjoy JJK content, make sure to subscribe and leave a like so you don't miss out on any upcoming videos, and comment some video ideas you want to see below. Let's first get into what makes Mahoraga one of the best Shikigami in the JJK world. His best up-to-date fight for gauging his strength would be his fight with a 15-fingered Sukuna in chapter 116. During this fight, Mahoraga actually does way better than some might expect. The fight starts with Mahoraga charging up a blade and slamming it down on Sukuna, but Sukuna blocks the attack. The blade is named the Sword of Extermination, and its specialty is exercising cursed spirits. Sukuna says that the blade is enveloped in positive cursed energy, similar to reverse cursed energy, and if he was a cursed spirit, he'd be finished. Bear in mind that this is a 15-finger Sukuna who only a few moments ago defeated Jogo with ease, a Jogo that's arguably stronger than a Domain Dagon who was able to take down Naobito, Nanami, and Maki, who would have all died if it wasn't for Megami. This is all possible because cursed spirits are purely negative cursed energy. This is also why they don't need to use reverse curse technique to heal, and they can just use their natural cursed energy. This is extremely useful for Mahoraga. While it may not have much effect against Yuta himself, if he can exercise Rika, it would put Yuta at an extreme disadvantage. During Yuta's fight with Ryu throws a punch at Rika and overpowers her, and it causes her to reach her limit, ending the manifestation before the 5 minutes are actually over. If Rika is hit by the blade, she'll likely be killed, or at a minimum, the manifestation might become undone, and the connection with Rika would sever. Maharaga's main ability comes from that wheel that spins on his head, the ability to adapt to all phenomena. During this fight, we see two examples of this happening in real time. The first begins after Mahoraga attempts to kill Sukuna using the positive energy from the Sword of Extermination. He realizes that it'd be more effective if he used normal cursed energy because Sukuna's not a cursed spirit. After being hit by Sukuna the second time around, Mahoraga was able to detect the invisible slice and deflect it. In order for the adaptation to occur, Mahoraga would need to get hit by an attack and not immediately get eviscerated. Then he would need to spin the wheel on his head. Sukuna compares this ability to a late throw in rock paper scissors. This is by far Mahoraga's best ability and tool for defeating most people in the series. The fanbook explains the adaptation by saying that this is a Shikigami that has not yet been subdued by any of the past 10 shadow technique users. It analyzes enemies' attacks in order to gain resistance and land effective hits. Mahoraga is also just an extremely strong combatant on his own physically aside from his abilities. He's able to take numerous punches and kicks from a 15-finger Sukuna nearly perfectly fine, and when he's hit with Dismantle, his durability is so insane that it doesn't even cut straight through him at a point-blank range. Mahoraga is also able to throw Sukuna through numerous buildings, sending Sukuna flying. A quick little disclaimer, I'm going to be going into the newer chapter of JJK, chapter 219, and if you don't want to get spoiled, now's your chance to click off the video. In chapter 219, Yorozu uses her curse technique Creation. She builds a perfect sphere to attack Sukuna, and it's said to be impossible to create a truly perfect shape, but these objects have an infinitely small point of contact which generates infinite pressure along the surface. Yorozu then opens her own domain expansion, but Sukuna just stands there and turns the wheel on his head. As Yorozu is confused, she wonders why he's not opening his own domain, even though her attack will eviscerate Sukuna and it's a can't miss. Suddenly, Sukuna opens a shadow and drops down the wheel that was on his head for the entire fight and summons Mahoraga. Mahoraga in one strike broke down Yorozu's entire domain expansion, including the perfect sphere. While Mahoraga's abilities are also amazing, physically he's an outstanding fighter. While Yuta has become extremely gifted in hand-to-hand combat, most of his power comes from his connection with Rika. In JJK Volume 0, Gojo explains to Yuta that his connection with Rika is through his ring, and curses are most stable when they're through an item. Using this ring, Yuta can make his connection with Rika, and it lasts about 5 minutes. During this time, Yuta gains some pretty insane abilities. Rika herself is called Yuta's curse technique, and she gives him many abilities, one of which is an extremely vast pool of cursed energy to pull from. Geto in JJK Volume 0 during his fight with Yuta says Rika is a cursed spirit of boundless cursed energy, and even without being fully manifested in Yuta's fight with Yuji, Yuta tells Yuji that he must have noticed that he has more cursed energy than even Gojo. But Gojo's manipulation is so precise due to his 6 eyes that he barely uses any, making it nearly impossible for him to run out. Just with the cursed energy he has here alone, it's enough for Yuji to say that he's already surging with massive amounts of cursed energy. Sorcerers have the ability to shift cursed energy to different parts of their body in order to perform attacks. Like if I were to throw a punch, I would shift my cursed energy from my body to my fist before attacking. The downside to this is that anybody who can see my cursed energy can deduce that I'm probably about to throw a punch. Because of this, elite sorcerers begin to shift their cursed energy at the last second, making their next move harder to predict. But Yuta's whole body, including his blade, is surging with massive amounts of cursed energy, so every attack he lands on Yuji can be detrimental, and the cursed energy surging through him allows his body to be constantly reinforced. During Yuta's fight in Sendai, when Yuta begins to gear up to continue the fight with Ishigori and Oro, Yuta manifests Rika. Ishigori says that it looks like Yuta's cursed energy is welling up again, implying that Rika's fully manifested form gives him more cursed energy. But Yuta's able to unlock even more cursed energy beyond this when Rika's fully awakened. Back in JJK Volume 0, during Yuta's final fight with Geto, Yuta makes a promise to Rika that all he wants to do is win against Geto and then he'll be all hers. Doing this made Rika so happy that she awakened and her eye opened. Geto explains what just happened and said that Yuta sacrificed himself to surpass the limit of cursed energy. But I'm sure you all get the point by now, nearly all of Yuta's cursed energy comes from Rika. Yuta also gains the ability to use Rika's cursed technique, Copy, giving him a large arsenal of Jujutsu techniques to pull from. During her fight with Kenjaku, Yuki begins trying to figure out the amount of cursed techniques Kenjaku possesses. Yuki says that Yuta can't use multiple cursed techniques without external aid, referring to Rika. She says that his brain wouldn't be able to handle storing all those cursed techniques, meaning without Rika, not only can he not copy other cursed techniques, but he probably can't use ones already stored either. Rika herself can also manifest and fight alongside Yuta. We see this best during her fight in Sendai Colony and during her fight with Geto. During her fight with Geto, she's able to dash and attempt to hit Geto, but luckily he dodges back. Later, she's able to pull Yuta back before Geto could land a blow on Yuta with Playful Cloud. And during her fight in Sendai Colony, she's able to combo attack with Yuta to attack Oro, and she's also able to launch Yuta up in the air for him to attack Ryu. Ryu shoots a granite blast at Rika, the same blast that hit Yuta before during his fight with Ryu. Ryu remarks that she might be more durable than Yuta, but Rika says that hurts and begins scrapping with Ryu. We see that Rika is able to fight independently from Yuta and doesn't need his direct control like some may think. We know Yuta possesses a domain expansion and was gonna use it against Ishigori and Oro before the domains canceled each other out. We don't know exactly what his domain does or if it even possesses a sure hit, so I won't be taking it into consideration. Now that I've explained both characters' relevant qualities when it comes to winning the fight, I'll now go into the two possible ways I see this fight ending. The only way I see Yuta winning this battle is by bypassing Mahoraga's adaptability. To bypass the adaptability, you must slaughter it with a new attack before it can adapt. While I don't think anything crazy on the level of Yuta being able to copy Mahoraga's adaptation, his other curse techniques that are already stored are going to be game changers during this fight. During Yuta's fight with Geto and during Yuta's fight with Ishigori, Yuta uses a blast that seems to be large enough to fully destroy Mahoraga in one blow. Even if it doesn't fully destroy Mahoraga, Yuta's other curse techniques like Curse Speech may be enough to end the Shikigami in a second blast. But like I mentioned earlier, if Mahoraga is able to land a blow using the Sword of Extermination to kill her and take her out of the fight, Yuta and base won't have any large scale attacks to kill Mahoraga or any curse techniques to end the fight because like I mentioned earlier, Rika holds most of his cursed energy and all of his cursed techniques. Yuta would be left with the cursed energy he already drew from Rika and a sword. I'd appreciate some feedback in the comments below, and if you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and thank you for